Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it much. Welcome to Flight UCOL 2016. Our destination today is consciousness. I love you. So our destination today is consciousness. And as we prepare for our flights, I'm going to ask you to sit back, relax, and listen to the crew members' instructions.
Hey!
Kayo su'a inis kinin melonamen. Welcome to Middle Earth, my friend. I'm here to guide you on your journey, so cease your rebel rousing and listen very carefully, and obey all crew member instructions and all illuminated signs. If the seatbelt sign were to illuminate, return to your seat right away. Make sure all valuables at your feet are pushed under the seat in front of you.
And fasten your seatbelt low across your hips. Although we recommend you keep your seatbelt fastened through the flight, if you do need to get up, release by lifting the lever or pressing down on the button.
Oxygen is precious to you beyond measure.
So if an oxygen mask should drop down from above,
Pull down on the mask, place over your nose and mouth, and adjust the elastic on both sides for a secure fit. There's no need to sound the alarm if the bag doesn't inflate. There's plenty of oxygen flowing through freely.
If you have halflings or young ones, secure your own mask before helping with theirs.
Woo! If there's a mishap during takeoff or landing, brace yourself on the seat in front of you. I myself prefer the more compact method. Put your hands on your head, your elbows on either side of your legs, and your feet flat on the floor.
when seated in Business Premier, sit upright, rest your hands on your thighs, and keep your feet firmly on the floor.
Life jackets are easily put on while seated. Just rip open the pouch, slip it over your head, clip the waistbands together and tighten.
In economy class, it's located under your seat. If you're seated in a sky couch, it's in your leg rest. In premium economy, it's here under your seat, and if you're seated in business premier, it's located here beside you. Inflate your life jacket by pulling on the red tab, but only when leaving the aircraft.
If you need to inflate the life jacket a bit more, roll into the mouthpiece!
Crew will provide cute little life jackets for our littlest people, should you need one.
Smoking anything, including electronic cigarettes, anywhere on board is forbidden territory, as it's dangerous.
We have lighting in each aisle to guide the way out if it's dark. Your crew are now pointing out your exits.
Your nearest exit could be behind you. Count the rows to the exit so you know the fastest route out.
And cut! It's time to stow all electronic devices.
As you're on board a 777 aircraft, lightweight handheld electronic devices may be used at any time.
For more information, please refer to your safety card or ask one of the flight attendants.
I hope you enjoyed that clip. Just a little different, but I thought it was a lot of fun. And what I wanted to do, though, is point out the segment where the crew member says, if you are traveling with a halfling or a youngin', secure your own mask first before attempting to help theirs. So do you notice what they are doing is pointing out the importance of putting on our mask first the priority. Why is that? Well, if decompression happens in a plane that is flying above 14,000 feet, there's not a lot of oxygen that is available in the cabin. Normally, airplanes are pressurized so that there's enough oxygen flowing through the cabins for us to function and watch our movies and whatever else we want to do. However, at 14,000 feet, the air is really thin and there's not a lot of oxygen. It's not enough for us to breathe. So if it gets decompressed, it's real important for us to secure our own oxygen mask first. If we don't do that, we could pass out. It could be as quick as 15 to 20 seconds is all it takes for us to pass out. Now, if I am passed out, what's the likelihood of me helping my neighbor or my child or anyone else next to me that may need assistance? Not too good. What that means is that both of us would be unconscious. Our lives work similarly. We cannot support ourselves if we are unconscious, nor can we be there for someone else if we don't have the ability to breathe. It doesn't work that way. So let's look at the term conscious. It has a few meanings. It means having one's mental faculties fully available. It also means being fully aware of what one is doing, as well as being aware of one's own existence. And it can also refer to the part of the mind that is comprised of psychic material of which the individual is aware. Conversely, unconscious has multiple definitions. It can mean without awareness or cognition. It can be occurring below the conscious level of thought. It can also mean not endowed with mental faculties. It also refers to the part of the brain that is comprised of psychic material that is only rarely accessible to our awareness. But even though it may not be accessible, it has a profound influence on our behavior, the unconscious. So we can take this analogy of the oxygen mask and apply it to our own lives. It has many different levels, many layers, and what I want to do is look at it first from the literal level. If you find yourself just flying around on adrenaline and anxiety, it's possible that your life is so busy that you are not taking time to rest and relax. You may be even in jeopardy of running out of oxygen in your own lives. And it's really important for us to be able to carve out the time to breathe. To breathe means to inhale and exhale freely. Yeah, I like that. Thank you for the demo there, Frank. Appreciate that. It also means to pause and rest before we continue, as well as feeling free from any restraints. The feeling of expansiveness, it comes from giving ourselves that space to be without doing. To be without doing. We need the space to connect with ourselves and with Source. This feeds us, it inspires us, it allows us to really be all we are. There is a spiritual need for us to stop and to know our truth. And it's from knowing our truth that we are then able to access that knowledge that we are all one together. But we cannot give, share, or connect with someone else if we don't even know how to connect with ourselves. It's just not possible. Our self-care has to be a priority, even if we're not supported in that, or people don't think it's important. We probably have all experienced relationships with those who may believe that. They may only see our value based on what we are doing. They can be personal, they can be business relationships. And we choose whether to buy in to their BS. And when I use BS, I'm using it for belief system. So we have the right to choose whether to buy into their BS. If we buy in and keep going and going and going and doing and doing and doing and get crispier and crispier, well, we could possibly burn out, freak out, or leave. That's why it's really important for us to honor our own truths. And as usual, as I'm doing this work, it's about my sharing where I am on the journey as I walk in consciousness, as I attempt to live consciously. In the role of minister, there is BS. There is a belief system held by many on what the role should look like, as well as how it functions. It's held by church leaders, even some ministers, as well as congregants. One of them is that the minister should work every Sunday. And there are various reasons behind that thinking. It can be, well, you got a cushy job, Rev Cherie. You only have to show up for 2 hours on a Sunday. That's all. At least you could do that and show up every Sunday. The other thought is, well, for growth and consistency, it's really important that the minister is there every Sunday. Another level of thinking about it is that, well, it's only our minister that can incite excitement and inspiration and joy. Well, I'm here to debunk the BS. On average, a well-crafted talk takes 15 to 20 hours of preparation. 15 to 20 hours of preparation. Now, if it's a part-time minister, that almost takes up all of their working hours. Now, as a full-time minister, I have a couple other things that I do, such as attend board meetings. What else do I do? I manage staff. I administer policies and procedures. I create regular services and special services. I have meetings. I'm the external representative of this community. I manage outreach, social media, and other ministries. I provide counseling. I organize events, book studies, and classes, and that's just a few. Church growth, I know many of you know this, it depends on all of us. Yes, it's important to have the right spiritual leader that works and is a good match for this community, and that minister is eloquent and inspiring. I could be the world's greatest speaker, and if only the 50 or 60 of you that are members here hear it, we're not going to grow. It just doesn't work that way. We'll continue to perpetrate the ideology that we are the best kept secret. So inspiration in this community comes from many different sources, from each of you, from the board, from the guest speakers that come in to share their experiences with us. Now, I got to tell you, if I bought into the BS that I have to be here every Sunday, you would not be seeing this exciting, joy-filled minister. No, that's not what you'd be getting. And even though I know that I am eternal, I also know that I am in human form. And while I'm in human form, I have to carve out time to breathe, time to stretch, time to create, get new ideas, hear different things, so that I can bring it back here. And if I don't do that kind of work, then I will lose my center, my clarity, and my knowing. And I got to tell you, that's really vital for me. I can't ask you to take steps that I'm not willing to take for myself. That's what ministry is about. It's a job of modeling healthy beingness and living consciously. So I can choose to be an A-type personality, which is kind of part of my nature. I'm not going to lie to you. It is part of my nature. But who I am when I am in that mode is very focused, rigid, and not expansive. It's very controlled. So when I am stressed, that tends to be the place that I go to. And I know that about me. So having that awareness means that I know what I need to do to take care of myself to be the best spiritual leader that I can be for you here. And that's why I do some of the things that I do. It's really vital for me to hold on to my truth, my knowing of who I am and what I've come here to be. And I got to tell you, if I can't do that and figure that out and how to do it in ministry, when am I going to figure it out? The time for me to figure it out is right now, right here, as I walk my talk. Now, we'll look at the unconscious and conscious from a metaphysical perspective. When we talk about putting on our own oxygen mask, it's really quite meaningful from that perspective. So there's an author, John Sanford, and he has written a book called The Kingdom Within. And he writes this: if we come to the kingdom of God and act unconsciously, despising the things of the inner world, we can expect to be ruthlessly treated by the unconscious. For in our refusal to become conscious, we have flouted the spiritual facts of creation. What we're talking about here is that being unconscious is not in alignment with our life purpose. I'll say it again. Being unconscious is not in alignment with our life purpose. What he's saying as he's writing that is that if we choose to live unconsciously, then we are going to be held hostage by our shadow self. We will be captured by our fears, by our feelings of unworthiness, and living unfulfilling lives. And without going within, we forget our truth, and we never get to remember our power and our divinity to actualize our awakened self. Sanford also reminds us about the nature of our work and what we've signed up for as we incarnate here. The way to the kingdom is never the path of least resistance. I'm going to say that again. The way to the kingdom is never the path of least resistance, but is a narrow, difficult, and winding way which requires us to go against nature. When an individual sets himself against the group consciousness, he begins to swim up the stream instead of down. He suffers the pain and difficulty of becoming a conscious person, no longer able to hide from his anxiety in a mass identity. Beloved, being conscious doesn't mean that we are always joy-filled. Being conscious, spiritually conscious, doesn't mean that we are always joy-filled. Do I have to say it again? There's a misconception among us that when we are spiritually aware, that we are always happy, healthy, and abundant. Always happy, healthy, and abundant. I'm here to tell you that consciousness, being awakened, is having the ability to feel the entire spectrum, knowing that whatever is in our awareness is there for our growth. So we don't have to label things as, oh, no, that's not good. That one is pretty bad. I screwed up on that. We don't have to do that. We know that it is all for us. And here's a tip. Sadness and discontent, it's the Spirit's way of calling us up higher. Because really, if all is happy, would you ever change? Would you ever transform? Because I got to tell you, I wouldn't. If everything is happy, hunky-dory, there's nothing to change, is there? It's perfect. Because that's what we think is great. So this week, here's my invitation to you. I invite you to practice consciousness both literally and metaphysically. Literally by taking time to be, time to meditate, to play, to relax. And metaphysically by embracing your choice to become conscious of your totality. This means accepting your divinity and your humanity. Divinity and your humanity. You came here to experience both. So there's no point in denying one over the other or thinking that one is better than the other. We incarnated to have a full human spiritual experience. And if you cannot do this now, then when will you? You came here right now at this time, at this moment, to be part of an evolution of consciousness as we transform to the highest form of humanity that has ever incarnated in mass on this planet. What's your job? It's the same as mine. To model being healthy. To model healthy beingness and living life consciously. That's your job. So embrace this. Accept this. Accept the bitter and the sweet. Accept the joy and the anger. Accept the abundance and the lack. All is for us. It's so good to be back home. Coming up, Kim.